I'm Saskia Jennings. I was born in the Netherlands, and 13 years ago and 1 week, I moved to Canada. I had fallen in love with a nice gentleman here. And when I moved from Holland, I did not move to Toronto, the big city, or Vancouver. I actually started living very rural, 3 hours north of Toronto, 15 kilometers off the highway in the bush, forest. Some people understand that better. So when I landed there, I thought like, okay, so now what? What am I going to do? Because I was starting to do, I got to do paperwork for immigration, etc. So what I did was that I always wanted to be in healthcare. When I left Holland, I had studied Reiki, reflexology, and I thought, well, whatever. So I saw an ad for 6 months training for personal support workers, so PSW. And I thought, whoa, that's exactly within the visa. The visa was always 6 months valid. So let's just go for that and I'll do it. Well, it was like another 3 hours up north. So I stayed there throughout the week. I did 6 months. It was amazing. And then I started working in the area where I lived, and I started working in an assisted living facility, which was really great. Everybody had their own apartment. So I became a PSW there, did different shifts. Then I also started entering their outreach program. So I started driving through town, and then the bigger outreach program, which would take me an hour to get to my first client driving through the bush, etc. So I did that for 5 years up north. Up north means in Ontario. Then I became a coach through my own journey. And then a few years ago, I had moved to the city about 5 years ago. The city is a city of Toronto, very hectic here. It's not really my place to be, but anyways, I'm still here. And just to keep a routine, I did still home care as a PSW for a few years. And I added the coaching until I had this major aha moment where I thought, these caregivers, the family caregivers, they have such a challenge. They're like, there's so much drama in it. And I couldn't see that. I'm like Miss Positive or the Queen of Positivity. And I thought like, but there's so many options. Oh, you actually don't know about it. There's so many things that you can do for your personal development to be the amazing caregiver and have an amazing journey and feel great about it. Don't feel undervalued. And so that was a lot that I dealt with. And then I changed my business. And so now I took the program with Denise Brown, caregiving.com. I'm a certified caregiving consultant and educator. I love speaking for audiences and really, really supporting the caregivers. For me, it's about you as the caregiver. What the heck is going on in your life? And what does your life look like? How do you want it to look like? Because most caregivers, as you probably know, Rachel, they think that they have to put their life on hold. And it will take a few years, and then everything is back to normal, which we all know. So you're shaking your head, no, right? Yeah. So, that's my short version of the story. Due to the training that I took with Denise to become the certified caregiving consultant, I had some extra ahas and insights that I hadn't really realized. So when I moved to Canada 13 years ago, in 2004, my dad developed dementia. And I wrote an article, Dementia on the Fast Track. It went so fast that in March 2005, he became so violent. He was still at home. He became so violent that my mom said, I'm done, take him out. Within 48 hours, he was placed in a nursing home. That was March 31st, and I would move May 5th, 2005 to Canada. So everything got a little bit back to normal. It was later in April, about the 18th or something, I went for a short trip to Barcelona, and I took my mom with me. We were called back home, and a few days later, my dad died. 2 weeks before I would leave. we had to make major decisions, and I never saw myself as the caregiver for my dad, but actually through the training, the conclusion was I was actually the caregiver for my mom, who was a caregiver for my dad. I had never looked at it that way. And that was like, wow, I was, because we kept my mom on track. We supported her mostly through the phone. I lived further away, but I never realized that. And so somebody said to me, it's now 2018, so you're a caregiver for your mom for 14 years. And I'm like, oh, really? Whoa. I actually say that I'm, according to the stages, I'm an expectant caregiver because my mom is still alive. She is very independent. She's 86. I visited her a year ago. We don't see each other too much. Yesterday on Skype on Mother's Day, that was it. She's still on her own, and my sister lives close by, and I live like 5,000 or 7,000 kilometers away. But that was big aha moments, which helps me to teach the caregivers, right? The other person I cared for when I was married in Canada, I never saw myself as a caregiver, but my husband's mom lived in the forest independently and was in her 90s. And I would pick up groceries, dropped it off. If she would go to the doctor, there was some point she couldn't drive anymore. We would take her, or she had a surgery. I never saw myself as a caregiver. Yes, I was. And so I actually accompanied her in her final stages and made sure that she was comfortable. So those are my private family experiences. 5 years ago, I got to meet Peter, and I took on Peter. I go with him on vacations to a cottage. That's when I live in with him, because his daughter said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to shower my dad, right? We hire somebody. And that's what I so admired in this family. They realized that their dad should have the independence with somebody with them. So I'm still with him. We're not going to the cottage anymore this year. He's almost 97. And it's fantastic. And he lives in the Veterans Center in Canada. So I go twice a week, and yes, I'm a caregiver. And then their best family's friends for 30 years says, listen, Saskia, my caregiver of 5 years has left after my dad just passed the end of January, and I knew the family. Can you please live with my mom? And I'm like, I'm really not sure, right? But the mom is independent, and they're in the transition to get a new caregiver. So here I am. And I do the cooking, and I supervise the shower. I do the laundry. And I said, come on, we'll get in the car. Let's go out. So I'm still a caregiver. How does my day as a caregiver look like? So with the realization that my mom is further away, and my mom does not expect me totally to do anything when things go worse. Last year when I went to visit, I said, I know there is some kind of a will. Dad has died so many years ago. Maybe I suggest you review it. I know my mom has set up funeral arrangements like 2 decades ago. And everything is quite simple, but we haven't done the things or the advanced care planning yet. She never really got back to me, and I'm not sure if my sister knows what to do or wants to take it on. So when I had that realization a few weeks ago, I thought, I'm going to talk to my mom, because what I've learned when I am in Canada now is that you have the living will. I was never really aware of it. But when I live here and I work so much with the seniors and the families and resources, I realize that living will is so important, because, and then there is I didn't know this. So this is important for anybody who listens, can learn from this. There's 2 parts. There is the medical power of attorney, which I think is extremely important. I actually get goosebumps because it's overlooked. And then there is the assets power of attorney, which often is arranged for, like the legal financial, but not like the medical ones. And it's so important. I've done some seminars on that I attended, and I thought, whoa. So I wanted to bring it up yesterday when my sister and my mom and I Skyped for Mother's Day, and I thought, nah, it's not the time. But I will call my mom within the next 2 weeks and ask her, because I looked it up, is that available in Holland? And it is. So I will ask my mom to look into it, to have my sister print it, and I want the two of them really to go for it. Healthcare system in Holland has tremendously changed. My mom's motto was always, you don't have to take care of me, the government's going to take care of me, and I'm not going to live with you. She does not want to live with us because we have our own lives. She's always been like that, very independent, her, my dad, and us as children. However, the government has changed so much that my mom and my sister are joking, and my mom says to my sister, I think she should really build that granny suite for me now, right? Or whatever. There's room enough in my sister's home, but it's ultimately not what my mom wants. So I kind of like stay away from it, but I want to support them in, you have to take action. If mom's brain starts to deteriorate, then we're too late to get a proper signature on medical attorney. And I know what my mom's wishes are, and I think it was a living will, but it hasn't been updated. So yeah, that's something that I think is very important. How does my day look like now? I do my own thing. I set the breakfast table, but my lady friend makes her own breakfast. I get the papers from outside. I keep the house tidy, although there's a house cleaner, but I make sure that the bathroom is tidy. I set the shower ready for when it's her shower day, or whenever she wants to have a shower, because it's all up to her. She's independent, and to me, that's so important. The big thing that I do is that I cook. And we just eat delicious meals, and we eat together with dinner. And I still do my work. So when I'm a few days a week, I'm not in the mornings up until like 2 o'clock. And then she has somebody else who keeps her company and makes her lunch. Yeah, so that's pretty easy. But recently, I'll share it, not too detailed, but we have an alarm system in the house, and she didn't take it into the bathroom. So I'm in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I think, like, what's that? Do I hear something? And I thought, oh, it's her calling. So I walked into the bathroom. She says, like, oh, you better put a pin up in your nose. Things went wrong. And I realized she didn't take the button because she's not wearing it around her neck, but she didn't take it into the bathroom. She couldn't call me. So those are lessons that you have to keep encouraging people to use safety precautions and procedures. Yeah, and for the rest, no, it's an amazing journey.